are being provided for tonight's council meeting by telephone, please dial 720-386-9023 and use code 104091 *.
Se ofrecen servicios de interpretación en español para esta reunión del Consejo Municipal por teléfono. Marque el número 720-386-9023 y utilice el código 104091 *.
Thank you. All votes on tonight's agenda will be conducted as a roll call vote. We will now call the regular meeting to order and ask the clerk for a roll call. Sorry.
Mayor Douglas.
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Noble.
Present.
Councilmember Madera. Councilmember Teeter.
Present.
Councilmember Chacon.
Present.
Councilmember Kim. Councilmember Dukes.
Present.
Councilmember Ford. Councilmember Douglas.
Here.
Mayor Douglas, you have a quorum.
Okay, I need a motion and a second to excuse members not present. Councilmember Kim,
So moved.
Councilmember Dukes,
Second.
first and a second, the motion on the floor, excuse members not present. We'll ask the clerk to take a roll call vote.
Your vote is open.
Okay, that passes 6, 1 abstention, and 2 excuse absence. All right. Okay, please join me for a moment of silence followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
I know, yeah, it's a yes.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, motion to adopt agenda. Do any council members wish to amend the agenda? Seeing no, I need a motion and a second to adopt the agenda as presented. Councilmember Kim.
So moved.
Councilmember Chacon.
Second.
Okay, the motion on the floor is adopt the agenda as presented. I will ask the clerk to take a roll call vote.
Your vote is open.
Okay, comes in 8 with 1 excused absence. And for the record, Councilmember Ford has joined us. Thank you. All right, on to public comments. All public comments except for those on public meetings will occur now. If you are intending to comment about a public hearing on tonight's agenda, please refrain from doing so until the public comment for that particular hearing. Public comment shall be limited to 3 minutes. Each person's registered to speak for multiple items may speak multiple times. Will the city clerk call virtual in-person speakers, please?
Thank you, Mayor Douglas. Our first person speaking tonight will be virtually, and that'll be with Rana Sanchez. Rana, you should be able to unmute yourself, and you'll have 3 minutes once you begin.
Thank you. Rana Sanchez, 10680 Waco Street in Commerce City. Good evening. I'm here tonight to encourage you to support a moratorium on gas stations / convenience stores in Commerce City. There are so many gas stations and convenience stores already here, and they keep on multiplying. Right now, there are 5 of them on 104th Street between Tower and Highway 2. Also, there's a new one on Tower, and they're building another one right across the street from that one. It's crazy. All I ever hear is that we can't have more retail here till we get more rooftops. And apparently we don't need rooftops to add convenience stores and gas stations. Are the convenience stores going in to replace the grocery store that we so desperately need but don't have? I implore you to take the time to study whether we even need any more gas stations and convenience stores before we add any more. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sanchez.
Thank you, Mayor Douglas. We'll now move on to our in-person speakers. Our first in-person speaker on tonight's roster will be Randy Wolf. Randy, if you can approach the podium, you'll have 3 minutes once you begin. Thank you.
You're going to be up here pushing that quite a few times. All right, esteemed council people. I've already spoke to a couple of you already, and I've already sent pictures. The homeless are getting ridiculously out of hand down on the 62nd and Highway 2. They've now moved their little community from the fence line north of 62nd. They are now on the sidewalk, in the street, and on the property of the greenery north of Commerce, no, not Commerce, King Supers. I've sent pictures to you all, and there's quite a few of you aware of it. But they're becoming larger and larger groups all the time, and they're leaving more and more garbage behind. The piles that Christie, the mayor, has seen, Mr. Duke has seen, will take a dump truck, not a little city pickup. I mean a 6-yard dump truck to haul off all the, hard to say what I really want to say, the garbage that's left behind. Plus that camp was there for probably going on 2 weeks. And as I text to Christie, where do they do their bodily functions at? They have become a biohazard. Anywhere else that would be considered a biohazard. They would be immediately removed from whatever. So you can't tell me, oh, well, they're going over in King Supers and da-da-da, or they're going here, they're going to, no, they're probably going in a hole in the ground and then probably covering it up, or they're putting it in buckets, leaving it behind. Oh, Lord, I do not envy at all the city people that have to go pick up this mess. And as far as I'm concerned, I'm really ticked off. I'm going to broad stroke everybody in city council, the ones that I talk to know what's going on. But tonight, I want all of you, instead of getting in your little cars and going up Quebec Street and on Highway 2 to your happy little homes, you go straight across 60th Avenue, jog up to 62nd, and you see with your eyes exactly what is going on up there. I have to see it every day that I go that direction. You all don't, with the exception of probably Mr. Teeter if he does go King Supers or in that area. I'm sorry I haven't included you in pictures, but get with the mayor and Christie and Duke, and you'll see them. Have you seen them? Yeah, and that's just lovely. I have to put up with that. This is like I've told you before, I've lived here 45 years. This is my town, and I don't care about this 10 seconds. It's my town. I'm sick and tired of it looking that way. How about if I load them all up and bring them out and dump them off out there at the King Supers in Reunion? You're all going to be real unhappy when you see that.
Thank you, Mr. Wolf. Could you wrap it up for me?
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. There definitely needs to be something done, and I don't mean just sitting in these chairs deciding, well, whatever. I have been getting some good reactions from some of you people, yes, and some of them, whatever. So I better sit down before I really get fired up and chew this pedestal up. All right, that's the problem we're facing in Old Town. And maybe I'm the only one that's saying anything about it, and a lot of other people see it and just go, nah, well, go drive by with blinders. But please do something about it, please.
Thank you, Mr. Wolf.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Douglas. Our next in-person speaker will be Sue McGowan.
Hello, I'm Sue McGowan. I'm the chairman of the Senior Commission here for Commerce City, and this is Mary Kay Natho. She is the vice chairman of the commission. We're here to announce that we will be having our 4th annual Senior Resource Fair this Saturday from 9 until 1 p.m. We have over 35 vendors that'll be participating this year. That's many more than we had last year, for both free and low-cost services for our senior community in Commerce City. We will have 2 demos going on. We'll have a demonstration of our Silver Sneakers recreation classes at both locations, Bison Ridge and Eagle Point. We will have a demonstration of line dancing for the community also, which helps with, skills as far as social actions and just movement. That's just a lot of fun. You can also participate if you'd like. We will have 3 educational seminars at this event, one on community well-being, one from Brothers Development, and another from Cultivando. I hope I'm saying that right. We will also have free transportation to the event from different locations. We have a flyer that's available, and we will have it posted on the board here as well as in many of the other locations. It's also has been in the newspapers that have come out and in the recreation centers. We will have, the best part, donuts and free coffee in the morning and hot dogs and chips for lunch. And we'd like to invite all of you to come and be a part of that and to see what your senior commission volunteer organization is doing for the senior community. So we'd like to thank you very much for that.
The best
thank
part
you.
is the donuts are tasty donuts. The coffee is Reunion Coffee House, and the hot dogs are from Bison Grill. So,
Nice.
can't go wrong.
Thank you very much. Could you give that, where's the location again?
At Eagle Point Recreation Center.
Okay,
From
thank you.
9 to 1.
Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mayor Douglas, our next in-person speaker tonight will be Jackie Valdez. Jackie, if you can approach the podium, you'll have 3 minutes once you begin. Thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Well, I'd like to thank Randy. He kind of said what I was going to say when I came up here, as angry as he was over the homeless situation. It is getting out of hand. And when you've got to call the police department to get them to come out and assist, because you've got somebody standing out in the middle of the park going crazy, screaming and hollering, threatening people, and then you've got a guy coming and going on private property and hiding in the bushes, we've got a problem. Each and every one of you, I've been up here so many times and complained so many times about so many things, and nothing has gotten done. I like his idea, the fact that we should load them all up on a bus and take them up north and let you deal with it for a while. I really like that idea, and if I had a bus, by all means, I wouldn't hesitate to, come on, let's go up north. Let's go where it's really, really nice to live. We're tired of the trash, we're tired of the filth, we're tired of the disgust, we're tired of the meanness, the nastiness, because you can't even talk nicely to them unless you're giving them money. Okay, so we need to get something done. And we need to get it done now. Just like we need to with the ATVs, the motorbikes, the go-karts, because that's still an ongoing thing, the trucking industry that is nonstop. The kids are out of school now. As I'm getting ready to come here comes a semi coming down through, and all off and on all day long, here comes the asphalt, the concrete trucks, the semis, the tow trucks hauling a car on top and pulling another one behind them, and nothing is getting done. Are we going to have another incident like Kara before anybody steps up and does anything? Is that what we need to have happen? We've had enough issues on the south side of Commerce City that we are fed up. People don't even want to come to the meetings because they don't trust anybody. They don't believe in anybody. They don't think you're going to do anything for us. And I'm beginning to think that myself. Keith didn't even want to come tonight. He said, you know what? He said, it's gotten to the point where we go and we complain and we cry and we try to get them to help. And he said, and you know what, Jackie? They don't do anything. He said, they make promises, and they never do anything. Now we have new officers that don't know a lot about the situation, but yet they're out there trying. I can tell you that. But the one guy that was in the wheelchair, they left him behind because he told them he had somebody coming to get him. The guy slept in the park all night long. So it's a matter of these children are now not going to be safe because a lot of them have some problems. If it's not drugs, it's alcohol. If it's not alcohol, it's a mental problem. The one that was in the park in the beginning, they arrested him and took him because it was bad with him. So my question is, along with you guys, along with city management, and along with the police department, along with the drones and everything else that we got going on, when is this gonna stop and when are you gonna step up? If you're not, please say so we can handle it ourselves. That's what I'm asking. If you're not gonna step up, say so we can handle this matter ourselves. That's what I'm asking.
Well, thank you, Ms. Valdez. Appreciate that.
And Mayor Douglas, our final speaker tonight is going to be Renee Bullock. Renee, if you can approach the podium, you'll have 3 minutes once you begin. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor, Council. My name is Renee Bullock, Executive Director of the Commerce City Chamber of Commerce. Tonight, I am coming to ask you for a no vote on the moratorium to a one-year moratorium to stop construction of future fuel cells operation. I don't know whether you notice or not, but there are a lot of businesses that are jumping over Commerce City to go to different areas: Fort Lupton, Loch Bowie, Fort Morgan, Brighton. You've put out a sign that basically, in a lot of manner, Commerce City is closed for business because the council isn't let staff do what staff was paid to do. During the time I was on council for 14 years, we've got so much accomplished because staff worked and staff did what they were asked to do and they got the job done. Since 2017, basically 4 or 5 big items have been done in this city, and they were done you've fought tooth and nail to stop them. We have people on the council that, in my opinion, and this is not the chamber, this is Renee Bullock's opinion, that are on the council to stop growth in Commerce City, at the same time complaining about there isn't growth in Commerce City. I can tell you that during the time of 2K, we got 5 projects done in 5 years, starting on January 1st, 2013, when they had to start developing the projects and go and make any kind of designs for them. They were done by December 31st, 2018. Also, we did Highway 2. We did parks, we did other things because staff did it instead of council micromanaging it. I'm going to ask the sensible people on council to vote no because Commerce City isn't closed. I have businesses that come before me all the time, and all I tell them is to watch 5 council meetings. After 5 council meetings, they can actually tell me who are the disruptors on the city council and why they're going to go to another city. Brighton has benefited greatly from our city council. And not to name names because you know who you are and you know why you're doing it. But as a chamber member and a person that is advocating for growth in this city and businesses to come here, I beg for you to vote no on that because that isn't going to do anything to stop. It's just going to send it to cities around us. Then you're going to tell us how much we are bleeding our taxes out of the city because we don't have these services. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bullock. Is that it?
Mayor Douglas, that concludes our public comment for tonight.
Thank you. Appreciate that. All right. Members of the public are able to submit written comments online by mail. Written comments were not received by the deadline and were not incorporated in tonight's agenda. If a follow-up is necessary, you should be expected to be contacted by a staff member. Up next is notice of council business. First item is appointing 2 council members to the EPIC. We'll invite Mayor Pro Tem Noble to introduce the item.
Thank you very much, Mayor. Our ordinance that we passed that created a commission from the Environmental Policy Advisory Committee to become the Environmental Policy and Innovation Commission. Also calls for the appointment of 2 liaisons to the commission from the City Council. So tonight, I am introducing this measure so that we can appoint 2 liaisons to EPIC.
Okay, I need a motion, and is that your motion?
No, I'm not going to make a motion. So what I'm suggesting is that we do it the same way that we do when we, anytime we appoint whoever is interested in becoming a member, simply nominates themselves and then gives their reason for becoming part of EPIC, and then we vote on them.
All right. Councilmember Teeter.
I'd like to nominate myself.
Okay, Councilmember Teeter. Any other council members? Councilmember Douglas.
My light was on. That's good. Yes, I'm interested. I have long been attending the meetings when it was EPAC as an advisory committee, and I would like to be one of the council members as ongoing liaison.
Okay, Councilmember Chacon.
I'd like to support second Christy Douglas also as well. She's been in a lot of spaces even before I was on council, especially with the EPA and being a liaison in a number of other agencies as well. So if I could second her.
Thank you. Councilmember Dukes.
I would like to nominate myself to be part of the EPAC committee based on my years of experiences working in environmental policy and environmental politics, as well as my relationships with national funders that focus on helping create quality communities that are eco-friendly. In addition to my current job where we have a number of resources that talk about trust transitions when we think about environmental politics and opportunities for workforce. And so with that, I would like to nominate myself, as well as I'd like to second the nomination for Councilmember Teeter to be a part of the commission.
All right, I have Councilmember Teeter, that's got a second from Councilmember Dukes. Councilmember Chacon nominated for Christy Douglas. Councilmember Douglas nominated herself. Councilmember Chacon was the second. Councilmember Ford.
I'd like to second Councilmember Dukes' desire to serve.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Ford. Second, Councilmember Dukes. Mayor Pro Tem Noble.
Thank you very much. I'd like to hear from Councilmember Teeter as to why he would like to be on the commission.
Yes, I've been involved with the environment since 1974 when I joined the South Adams County Fire Department. We helped a number of businesses clean up. We put a lot of businesses out of business that was not willing to clean up. And I enjoy having clean air, clean water, but you have to work with the businesses. You can't move all the businesses over to China and out of the country to make us perfectly clean. You have to figure out a way to make things clean while the businesses are still here in the USA. So that's the main reason I'd like to do it. And I've just done it for years and years, and I guess I only did it for 42 years. So not that many, but just when I was on the fire department, but we did deal with a lot of different environmental issues. So it's not new to me, and I would love to clean up the place and make it better in more ways than just that. And I can make the meetings, that's the other reason. I guess from what I heard from the staff on there said that their previous people that was on there couldn't make the meetings, so they asked me if I could make the meetings, and I said, yes, I can.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Kim, did you have?
I have a
Mayor Pro Tem,
follow-up.
do you have another question?
Yeah, a follow-up. You were asked by staff if you could make the meetings?
Yes. Or not by staff, by the committee, some of the committee members.
Okay, all right. And I do want to make note that the meeting is at 3:30, and and council members make the quorum. Without a council member present, there is no quorum.
Done? Okay. Councilman Kim?
Thank you, Mayor. I actually have a question. Councilwoman Chacon, where would you be willing to entertain being nominated for this? So I'd like to nominate Councilwoman Chacon for this, and also if that doesn't quite work out, then I think Councilwoman Douglas and along with Councilmember Dukes would be the right choices then.
All right. Any other discussion? Okay. Councilmember Douglas.
Yes, I'd like to also add that I have served on the Energy, Environment, and Natural Resources Commission for the National League of Cities for the past 3.5 years. And you have to apply for that position. And so I felt honored to have been selected for that.
All right, Councilmember Chacon.
I don't know if we should add to it, but I will as well. I'm still in the Environmental Justice Action Task Force, Co-Commissioner for Equity Analysis of Cumulative Impacts. We helped pass state legislation for SB 1266 and now going on about 10 air toxin bills, 3 water quality bills, and equity analysis bills so that agencies no longer live in silos and knows how to do community outreach. I've worked with 11 months with industry and then some to actually create the Environmental Justice Action Task Force recommendations. We still push in policy today, and it's not just about policy, but it's also knowing how to translate a lot of technical information so that we can have a just transition for community. So I would welcome the opportunity if so.
Okay. Councilmember Dukes.
Thank you. I guess I'll just add, I will share just a little bit of the vision. I would love, why I chose to put my name in to be a part of this commission. I think Commerce City is prime opportunity to really think about not just being activists and saying no to possibilities, but thinking about how do we, and I mentioned this, have just transitions from, green spaces to workforce where families can actually use their skills and begin, if we do want to move towards a more energy efficient or eco-friendly type environment, how do we make sure we don't leave our residents behind? I think one of the challenges I've seen in my professional career is that we move forward with these audacious ideas, but we don't think about the after effect or the ripple effect to the residents that have been in the communities for years. This sparkly, shiny idea of having things like electric cars and electric grid, but not thinking about how the workforce can actually use your skills to transition your job is a big issue across the nation. The other issue is that when we think about new types of technology, whereas geothermal energy, this is something that folks have explored. And as a city, we should think about what are some different ways to have clean energy, not just no to nuclear or no to this or no to that, but what are the things that are going to represent the city the best? It is important for me as a whole city, as a council member, that we don't just get on these commissions to be, again, activists around bigger state issues, but we're more around how do we have our local issues be able to help our community, not just for now, but for the long term. The last piece I want to say that I'm interested in is thinking about urban planning. Think about the importance of green space and how we look at our designs and our city code and policies to create green spaces that is beyond just no to a certain industry. These are things that I think is necessary for our community for long term, not just to be a champion against one type of industry, but rather saying, hey, how do we come together to really create a city that is for the future, that is clean, that is available for the people who live here, that want to live here, and also an opportunity for them to grow in the new industries. So that's some of the reasons why I think about this vision, why this commission is going to be critical for the future of our city.
All right, Councilmember Douglas.
Well, I want to weigh in on this. it sounds like that was a bit of target practice there, and I really don't appreciate that.
Point of order.
Councilmember Dukes, just allow Councilmember
No,
Douglas.
point of order. I just want
What's
to.
your- explain your
A point of order that we have a council policy that we do not address or attack other council members. Rather,
And you
we
violated that.
we
So-
address the issue and topic at hand. My
So-
statements were directly a reflection of the topic at hand, not necessarily a specific council member on this dais.
Yep.
So I want everyone to know that I've been working on just transition through education and to address the climate crisis issue for years, and environmental justice. So it's not a matter of activism. It is working with the community to provide a better future for all of us. And so I do want everyone to know that this is something that I've been working on for many years. And yes, it is, it's an uphill battle because there is great opposition to electrifying and working towards a clean environment where people don't have to suffer health consequences and the like, and to not have a employment future that is possible. So I just want to point it out that this is something that actually both myself and Councilmember Chacon, as well as Councilmember, or I should say Mayor Pro Tem Noble, and with the mayor. And so this is not something new for me at all.
Thank you. Councilmember Chacon.
It's been no secret, I grew up in the movement, specifically the Chicano and AIM movement. I would refrain about using the word activist only because it's literally a targeting practice for fear-mongering against specifically predatory industries. The reason I cite that is because we've actually had to defend ourselves on federal lawsuits, especially for indigenous communities. So I'd keep in mind, it's not activism, it's organizing. And environmental justice is incredibly complex. So though I do understand that a just transition, it isn't just immediately switching a workforce without having the due development that we need to with their equity in mind, but it's also recognizing when fear-mongering is used from past industries that have actually targeted historically exploited communities repeatedly. So I would be mindful about how we really are targeting our own community, because if that's the case, we have a whole lot of activists as it is that even sit in this space every single time that they're very active in speaking because they care about their community. So I would not want to further stigmatize what it means to be active. In fact, we should be encouraging our community to be more involved in that way instead of trying to cause more harm and division simply by our vocabulary.
Thank you. At this point, we've heard a lot from the ones who would like to be nominated. So I'm going to make a motion to appoint 2 council members as liaisons to the Environmental Policy and Initiating Commission per approved ordinance. So we're going to do one person at a time, and since Councilmember Teeter nominated himself first, I'm sorry, Innovation Commission. Since Councilmember Teeter was first to nominate himself and was second, I'm going to have Councilmember Teeter be the first one for us all to vote on, and that is a motion. I need a second. Councilmember Dukes?
Second.
Thank you. All right.
So Mayor, just so I can be clear for the record, the motion on the floor is, and that was seconded, was for Councilmember Teeter to be the first member of council to be approved for
Yes.
the commission. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you.
Are you ready, Mayor?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Your vote is open.
Okay, that fails 4-4. Up next, Councilmember Douglas. She was the second council member that received a second.
Do we have a second, Mayor?
Oh, sorry about that. Mayor Pro Tem Noble, pardon me.
I'll second that.
Thank you.
And this is for Councilmember Douglas?
Yes,
Thank you, sir.
sorry about that.
No, that's okay. I just want to make sure I was tracking. Oh, excuse me, hold on. Your vote is open.
Okay, that failed 4-4. Next, motion for Councilmember Chacon, and seconded by Councilmember Kim. Councilmember Kim?
So you just made the motion
No,
for,
I'm just saying you were the second to her, so I made the motion, sorry.
all right, so I'll second that motion.
Okay.
And this is for Councilmember Chacon, correct?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Your vote is open.
Okay, that passes 5 with 3 no votes. Okay, first spot's taken. All right, onto this, Councilmember Dukes was fourth. He was second by Councilmember Ford. For the second position, I need a second. Councilmember Kim?
I'll second that.
Okay, thank you.
Your vote is open.
It's 4-4. All right. All right, we have, out of 4, we have so far Councilmember Chacon and Councilmember Teeter, Dukes, and Douglas. Any council member like to take their name out of the hat? All right. Round 2. Okay, need a motion and a second to nominate Councilmember Teeter for the second position on Epic. Councilmember Ford.
So move.
Okay, first and a second to nominate Councilmember Teeter for the second position on Epic.
Your vote is open.
Okay, that failed 3-5. All right. Okay. On to Councilmember Douglas. A motion to appoint Councilmember Douglas to the Epic for the second board position as council member. Need a second? Need a second?
I'll second.
Councilmember Chacon, second. Okay, the motion on the floor is to nominate Councilmember Douglas as a second council member to the EPIC.
Your vote is open.
Okay, that fails 4-4. All right, Councilmember, okay, the motion and a second to appoint Councilmember Dukes as a second council member to the EPIC. Councilmember Kim.
Second.
Okay. All right.
Your vote is open.
Okay, that fails 4-4. All right. Again, would any council member out of the three, Councilmember Teeter, Councilmember Douglas, Councilmember Dukes, would like to remove your name for the second position? So I'm trying to find. All right. It's going to come down to a coin flip. Councilmember Teeter, heads or tails?
Hold on, Mayor. Sorry, I don't think you can do that. So what you could do is, because you obviously have an even number here,
Yeah.
you have one council member that has been appointed. Technically, hold on, I'm pulling up the ordinance. So technically, you could have a vacancy on the second position. You could continue, someone could motion to continue this discussion to the next regular meeting with the hopes that we would have a ninth council member. Alternatively, you could continue to have discourse on, a different candidate or to discuss the candidates who are already appointed, but I would strongly recommend against a coin flip to make that decision. I think we need a vote for the record.
Okay.
Well, let me say this. I understand historically we have used coin flips, but then there's been a subsequent vote. If the council's amenable to that, that's fine, as long as you're agreeable to actually documenting a vote thereafter.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Teeter.
I just, if we hold it over to the next meeting, that means that they won't be able to, the commission won't be able to have a meeting this next month because they won't have enough there for a quorum.
That is not correct. So a quorum requires 6 regular voting members or alternates plus 1 city council member. So we need at least 1. So that would require the 1 council member who has been appointed to be present.
You are correct. Yeah.
Councilmember Dukes.
I'd like to make a motion to continue this discussion until our next regular meeting.
Councilmember Kim.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Motion on the floor is to your name's not in there. Mayor Pro Tem Noble.
Oh, sorry. I pushed the wrong button. I pushed the button to talk.
It's okay.
I apologize. I needed to push the button to get in line. My apologies, everyone. Can I just say that as someone who's been on this council a while and was part of the founding of the Environmental Policy Advisory Committee, and then its conversion to the Environmental Policy and Innovation Commission, that I can't begin to tell you how happy I am that we have so many people on this city council who are interested in the environment, who are interested in clean water, who are interested in clean air. And I hope that because our strategic plan, which has the third goal is specific to the environment, that this means that going forward, we will be redoubling our efforts to support environmental issues, just transition, finding the best solutions to issues that are impacting our residents. So thank you very much for all of your interests. I can't tell you, I'm really very pleased to see this. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, the motion on the floor is to continue this to the next regular meeting. And Councilmember Kim was the second.
Your vote is open.
And it passes 6-2. All right. On to the next item. Gas moratorium. I'll invite Councilmember Chacon to introduce this item.
I wanted to introduce what other cities around us have also considered. I know Denver actually put an entire ban on gas station development. I don't want that necessarily. I just want that we stop after the next 5 to 6 projects that have been proposed. And it is because there has been a weakening of EPA regulations, so there's no real federal agencies to also analyze our health and safety. We need to work more with the state in understanding also what those are. So I wanted to have a discussion among City Council regarding the potential enactment of a 1-year moratorium prohibiting city approval of the construction of future fuel sales operations. This 1-year moratorium will allow the city time to study the development and environmental impacts of gas stations. As we already had one of our constituents mention earlier, Rana Sanchez, there are too many for a community, and yet we still can't get grocery stores, but we get approval for more and more gas stations, and that continues to stigmatize a community that I do care about with health and safety concerns that we are not analyzing fully, especially when they're so close together for cumulative impacts, and that's exactly what I do for the state. So I'd like to make a motion directing city staff to draft an ordinance creating a 1-year moratorium prohibiting city acceptance or approval of any new application for the construction of future fuel sales operations to allow the city time to study and the development and environmental impacts of gas stations on the community. This is not to continue to create polarization and this type of fighting within our own city council. It's legitimately so that we can start studying how we can be a just transition, and I reflect the same thing as Pro Tem Noble. I'm excited that so many people are finally involved in environmental justice, frankly, and I think this could be a real way that we could work together instead of us continuing to push these two narratives against each other.
Thank you for the motion. We need a second. Councilmember Douglas?
I'd like to second that, please.
Thank you. All right, any discussion? Councilmember Ford?
Yes, I understand where some folks may be coming from concerning this. I know we also have a lot of our residents want additional grocery stores. Grocery stores now to compete have to have a gas component. And the way the moratorium's written, and it also includes grocery stores with gas. So I cannot be supporting this because I truly believe that we've made a lot of mistakes when it comes to development, increased fees, the fire sprinklers on single-family detached homes. We had a gentleman come up and talk earlier about how we're pushing development away, and I truly believe that. And I think this is one more thing to push commercial opportunities away. We have people that want to build restaurants. I have developers that actually have had people come to their site, want to do a restaurant, but based on the fees, we are 3 times on average higher than Brighton. Over double in fees as Thornton. If we don't change how we do business, we're not going to have the commercial opportunities we want, and commercial starts with gas and convenience. Other businesses come near them because they want to be where activity is. I'm not going to support this. I don't have it in me to support this. Not going to happen.
Thank you. Councilmember Douglas.
So I heard from a lot of people who didn't come forward tonight say that they were definitely in support of this because we have too many gas stations and convenience stores, which if we keep adding to that, we're going to become the food deserts that are notorious in Black and brown communities. And so there are a lot of grocery stores. Sprouts they don't rely on gas sales. Whole Foods, Trader Joe's, the niche grocery stores that we should be pursuing because it's something that isn't in neighboring cities, except for Sprouts, but they were interested in Commerce City at one time. But I think that once something's in, it's in. And you can't put anything else in there. And so right now, we're the product of poor planning. And that has to change. And so in order to make sure that we do leave these spaces available for unique products to come in so that we can become that attraction for people stopping, coming in from the airport, going back to the airport, we need to start looking at how we can do that. And so I will be in complete support of this moratorium so that it will give us an opportunity to work on bringing in other things. And I think, the fees are negotiable. Use it as a negotiating tool. But I think one of the things that keeps us from moving forward is the fact that we don't have our own water district. We don't control our water here. And then we have metro districts who can also set their own mills. And so those are the problems and the issues that we need to address so that we can grow to become the city that is the quality community for a lifetime that people who have moved here are looking for. Thank you.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Noble.
Thank you very much, Mayor. I am in support of a moratorium, particularly since the Land Development Code won't be coming before us before fall. I think we could certainly focus on coming up with rules or regulations, criteria, whatever the case might be, to ensure that we aren't approving via administrative approval gas stations and convenience stores on every corner. I'd like to point out that of the 6 that are in process, these convenience stores are as large as 6,000 square feet. That's not your average 7-Eleven. 6,000 square feet is huge. It is a replacement, in a way, for a grocery store, and it's low-hanging fruit. If you can accept a grocery store, then you don't have to worry about getting, if you can accept a convenience store of that scale with a gas station, then you don't need to worry about bringing in a grocery store nearby. My grandfather had a gas station that he owned and operated on Federal Boulevard. So it's not like I have anything against grocery stores or gas stations or convenience stores, but they were different back in the day, and they weren't malls. I think that we really need to wrap our minds around how close we want them to be, to residential areas. They might make sense on a highway, but do they make sense when you have a neighborhood nearby, as we do in at least 2 cases And the other issue is, as was pointed out, that once you put in a gas station, those underground tanks are there forever. Now you have made this space something that can't necessarily ever be used otherwise. We had that problem when we had an application for a brewery. Everyone would have enjoyed that on Highway 2 until they discovered that that old gas station site was polluted underground. Someone in my family has worked for Exxon, and Exxon had a very strong policy that at the end of 20 years, a tank had no more life. They would remove the tanks if the gas station was viable, if it was profitable. They would put new tanks in. If the gas station wasn't profitable, they would actually clean up the land. That's even a kind of policy that we could put into place here in Commerce City if we don't have those kinds of gas stations that are occurring. So I think there's a lot of possibilities. There's so many different reasons why we should have a moratorium on this. And I just appreciate you bringing this forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Councilmember Dukes.
Thank you, Mayor. I do have concerns around the message this sends to Commerce City as being continually be closed for business. Something that Councilmember Ford mentioned, that the viability of new grocery stores need some type of field services. But so if we have a Sam's Club or a Costco want to come in, it basically says no right out the front door. But I do have some questions for the bill sponsor just to help get some clarification, because the way this is written, it says a one-year moratorium prohibiting city acceptance or approval of any new applications for construction for future fuel cells operating in the city. One is, and I've also heard language around, we want to conduct a study. My first question for Councilmember Chacon, our city staff, we currently don't have an environmental impact study team, so we have to cost that out. Do you know the cost of environmental impact study and how much that would be? And a time frame for that?
Councilmember Chacon.
I would ask city staff.
So it wasn't a part
City
of it?
Manager Rogers.
I think that's a very good question, Councilmember Dukes. It's very dependent upon the parameters. I think that's a difficult question to answer because I come from a background where if there's a foundation that's been established, like at the state level, that you can then replicate at a local level, that gives you something.
Sorry, and I don't want you to.
Councilmember Dukes, can you let him finish?
Well,
Ask the
just
question, then you
point
can-
of information.
You can answer, you can ask another question to lead up to that. City Manager Rogers, please continue.
Thank you, sir. Basically saying, if there's a state standard that's able to create a foundation for us then to be able to build from, that would be an easier, that'd be an easier framework for us to be able to create a timeline, a budget, or a cost estimate. Since that doesn't exist, I can't give you a guesstimate that I'd feel comfortable at this time.
Thank you. Councilmember Dukes?
Thank you for the clarification. So my understanding is with this moratorium motion, there is no fiscal figures that we can look at. So we'll be approving something as a blind slate at this current point.
Yes.
My next question is to either the sponsor or co-sponsor. I know the idea and the heart of trying to look at the different places gas stations can be placed, and there's references around gas stations being too many. Can you tell us what data you used and also how this wasn't brought up in our comprehensive plan when we talked about approving a comprehensive plan?
Councilmember Chacon?
The data that I use actually is EnviroScreen 2.0, and I can give you a list of what Green Latinos uses as well to identify disproportionately impacted communities within our entire city. So you can overlay it and you can see where the future plans and where the current plans are for each one of them. And there are so many that are close by, as was even mentioned by Rana Sanchez. The EPA also provides another one that we can forward you the surveys. Both of them, I believe, are on Green Latino's website. but it's just to show you and highlight where disproportionately impacted communities are, where their concern for health impacts are, and was also brought up for food deserts as well.
Thank you. So,
Councilmember Dukes, go ahead.
so what I'm hearing is we need additional research on the land. You gave me some websites from Green Latino and another website, but it wasn't a part of our packet, correct?
No, that wasn't included because we were trying to include the terminage of environmental health impacts, and that wasn't included in the comprehensive plan. But those are actually completed studies that are current up until now, actually. So we could work with not only the EJ Act and recommendations to start creating what you would like to now, and then what does that also look for when we're looking at bringing in new businesses, so that's not always dependent on businesses with gas stations.
Thank you. Thank you for the question. My understanding is that we don't have the data right now to look at this motion to approve it moving forward for city staff. There will be additional work the city staff will have to conduct. My other question is, knowing that retail is included with fuel services, how have you engaged economic development staff as well as other stakeholders that are maybe not just for, but also, or not just against fuel station, but also for, and thinking about what financial impact that has to the city? So what stakeholder engagement did you guys conduct before you brought this forward?
Councilmember Chacon, did you want to answer that, or?
The stakeholder engagement is the disproportionately impacted communities. This is coming directly from community concerns that we've heard, especially doing currently the water impacts that we've been doing for water filters. And a lot of it, we have actually an entire survey of about 400 constituents just within Commerce City alone. So we can't show you the financial impact because that's what the year's worth of the study is supposed to be cumulatively, but we can show you the community impact.
That data is not in our
Councilmember
packet as
Dukes,
well.
Councilmember Dukes, your 5 minutes is up. Councilmember Teeter.
Yes, I just wanted to answer Pro Tem Noble's question on the tanks in the ground. All tanks that are put into the ground now have to be double lined, so that if the first inside tank leaks, well, then the detector will pick it up before it gets into the environment or into the ground. So I know that for a fact. And is it legal for the people that drive electric vehicles to vote on this ordinance or this?
I think that's a legal question. The answer is certainly no. It's not illegal for any.
Oh, it's not.
It's not illegal for
It
any
should
council
be.
member to vote regardless of what vehicle they drive.
It's my feelings as people that don't think we need gas stations are probably people that don't need gas stations because they drive electric vehicles. But the other reason I think they're against the gas stations is because they're against all commerce in commerce.
Councilmember Teeter, please keep your thoughts and
Didn't
comments
point
to.
fingers at anybody.
Please keep your comments
except for the entire
stated
council.
out to the whole council, please. Thank you.
And that's all I got.
Thank you.
I will be voting no.
All right. Appreciate that, Councilmember Teeter. All right, before we go to the second round, I know at one time back in between 2011 and 2019, we had an influx of 7-Eleven stores come in, which we needed because 2004, we didn't have a gas station. So it was very hard as far as any kind of, when it comes to gasolines. And at one time, 7-Eleven was actually building a new 7-Eleven store a new 7-Eleven store every 38 seconds around the world. That's how fast 7-Eleven was growing. And we do appreciate the fact that we do have abundance of gas stations. And I wouldn't put a name or suggest that this is targeting one company. So this is just to draft an ordinance. So everybody needs to keep that in mind. Second round, Councilmember Chacon. And on the second round, could you switch to 3 minutes, please? Thank you. Yes.
I just wanted to remind council, this is not a new concept. this is legitimately what Denver is doing and others around us have considered as well, because they are tired of also having their community stigmatized. I grew up by a gas station. My dad was a trucker for gas stations. I get it. I understand that sometimes they're literally where communities are centered. They also are the food deserts. It was $5 on a reservation to get a banana. So it is concerning that we continue to stigmatize our own community. This is not against commerce. This is trying to look for a just transition and study together through a year's worth of a moratorium and study to work together to find new ways. So we're not continuing to perpetuate Commerce City as the stigmatized environmental health safety zone that we have become. So I would be really mindful about how we can harm our own constituents by projections, and how we also can be supportive of our own constituents by relearning what we think we might know, frankly, about business.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Noble.
Thank you very much. One of the things that comes to mind as I listen to the arguments against the moratorium is that they are actually the arguments that support the moratorium. The reason they are the arguments that support the moratorium is because they're asking questions about things we need to make decisions going forward. So if these fuel stations, which in Commerce City include electric charging, by the way, these fuel stations who might come forward after, I believe Councilmember Chacon said those that are in process will still go forward. So this is just any new fuel station. This is an opportunity. The moratorium is an opportunity for us to actually get the data that we're talking about, the EnviroScreen, the information about impacted communities, where these are going, how close they are to each other, traffic impacts, pricing. I mean, my experience going into a convenience store for a gas station is similar to your description, that a banana costs a lot more in a convenience store at a gas station than it does when you go into a grocery store. And it just takes away a huge amount of property that could be used for other purposes, and suddenly it is a fuel station and a convenience store. So I will continue to support this, and it is also why all of us who mutually agreed that the environment is very important in Commerce City, we just had that discussion, is that now we have an opportunity to demonstrate how important it is to us by doing a moratorium and then making it a priority to actually come up with the rules and requirements that are required to make a difference when it comes to these fuel stations and where they're located in Commerce City. It's not about business. I don't have any constituents who have said to me in the 5 years I've been on council, we don't have enough gas stations. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Dukes.
Thank you, Mayor. This is a tough one because as you mentioned, I strongly care about the environment, and I think it's important to have clean air, clean water, but also it's important to recognize that we do need alternative fuel. But this isn't about just that. This is about this motion itself. I asked very specific questions around data, cost, and community outreach. And on all three questions, I heard none. Someone who often has monthly meetups, I'm at town hall meetings, I have meetings with residents consistently over the last 2 years. I'm in the community fairly often. And it's important for me to hear both sides of the issue, and I'm not hearing both sides of the issue. One thing that was comment that was made that this is just drafted an ordinance. And for residents to understand that this isn't just drafting an ordinance, this is using your taxpayer money to create something on the fly that ultimately gets morphed into policy that could have a detrimental impact to our community, specifically those who want in grocery stores, amenities, and retail. What I consistently hear in some of my monthly meetups, walkabout nothings, town halls that I participate in actively is that folks want retail. Folks want grocery stores. And folks are frustrated around the government being involved in the decision makings and everything, because what it does is it slows down opportunities, it lacks clarity, and it causes other consumers as well as retail and amenities to jump over our city. And so this isn't just about the gas station or fuel station. This is a message that we continue to share externally that Commerce City is closed for business. Because with the lack of clarity to put a moratorium in place, without the research, the cost, and the outreach, is going to end up being lack of clarity when we share this to our business community, our developers, our landowners. And so with lack of clarity and volatility at the council level, they're going to jump us over, they're going to jump by us. And then at the end of the year, it would be, we didn't know what we were researching, we don't know what we were developing, and then we're going to have another moratorium. So it might be 2 years or so in. So with that, I can't support this moratorium for those reasons.
Thank you. And just to clarify, City Attorney Zarzaki, would this ordinance be drafted on the fly? What's the length and time to the ordinance if this passed?
It's a good question, Mayor. So the motion, if a motion was made, well, it was made, my apologies. There's not a timeline on when staff would be directed to bring back a draft ordinance. Just for clarification, a moratorium would require 2 readings of an ordinance. I don't know, the questions are great with regards to the background studies, et cetera. I have no idea how much that would take for city staff to acquire. As far as the drafting of the ordinance, I think that could take a couple of days to draft the actual ordinance itself. But again, the background information I do not have, I'm not privy to.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate that. Councilmember Douglas.
So when I was asked to support this as the second motioner, I jumped at the opportunity because I have heard for years, why do we have so many gas stations? Why do we have so many convenience stores? Why do we have so many fast food places? And when Quick Trip came in on Tower, they touted that they were going to have a restaurant. Well, their idea of restaurant is not a restaurant. I went over to the one that was in a little bit more industrialized area in the Central Park, off of Central Park Boulevard going off the I-70 viaduct, I guess you would call it. It is where people just stand in line and they put in their order for pizza or whatever and they come and go. No sit down, no nothing. I also remember when they went in on 112th and Highway 85. There were 500 people who signed a petition to say that they did not want that there at 112th and Highway 85. It went before planning. It passed with the fact that there would be no fuel station with the convenience store. And so the community sat pacified, thinking that there would be no fuel station there because they were concerned about the traffic, which I totally understand. And then the council voted to pass it with the fuel station. And so the community felt betrayed. That was 500 signatures. Somebody worked really hard to get that information out into the community and to get those signatures, but the signatures were for nothing. And so I think you all need to take that into consideration, data or no data. Talking to the people and what they want and what their expectations are is very important. And so if we can slow down the administrative approval of convenience stores with gas stations so that we can look at other avenues of economic development, I think would be wise. And that's why I'm in support of this. Thank you.
All right, Councilmember Ford.
Thank you. Well, first off, gas stations and convenience stores are not substitutes for grocery stores. I mean, especially when you're raising kids, you might run to the gas station and get a gallon of milk or something like that, but they're not restaurants. I drive outside of the city to buy my fuel once a week because I want to buy the lowest, best price of fuel that I can buy. It's a choice. The development at 112th, yeah, there was 500 people, but they were told it was going to be a truck stop with hookers. It was misinterpreted all day long. I hear about disproportionately impacted community. I hear about you can't say environmental activist. I'm an activist. Activist is not a bad word if it's something that you truly stand behind. The fuel station at 112th and Highway 85 literally was, the motion was amended and it was voted down to allow the gas station without any fuel. Yes, there are some folks who are environmental activists and they push that. That's their agenda. It's a political agenda. It happens. I'm a gun activist. I will support my gun rights all day long. Other people don't. At the end of the day, it's about business. It's about doing business in this city, and it's when you start stepping on and having takings. If you're a developer or you're a property owner and you have the right, the legal right to build a gas station, and this council is going to take it away, I hope that we get sued for doing that because it's wrong. We are trying to micromanage every single bit of what our staff is designed to do. We have economic development people that are hired to specifically identify locations for these type of uses. We have land development codes. We have all these things, and we have discussions about doing away with drive-through restaurants. I know some immobile people in this community that are on wheelchairs. They wouldn't have the ability to go to a restaurant if that wasn't for drive-throughs. If Buc-ee's wanted to come in to this city, I can only estimate the outcry and outpouring and people walking the streets to sign petitions because of their political desire to be activists. I get so frustrated with this. Are we building a community, or are we going to change the name to No Commerce City? I'm voting no.
Thank you, Councilmember Ford. All right. Now, if we go to Councilmember Chacon, you're up for a third time. So we're gonna change it to 2 minutes. Councilmember Chacon.
I'll be quick. My last time. Honestly, I think Commerce City needs to help self-respect. Just because we're open businesses doesn't mean we need to be open for all business, and we don't have self-respect. Being named Commerce City, we don't have a standard of what we can actually reflect what we want it to as a quality of a community. And I think that it's a false narrative that we're against all business because this doesn't stop the current 5 to 6 projects that are in literally the pipeline, no pun and pun intended. And I want to be mindful of that is because we're not taking away gas stations and we're allowing the current ones that are already there. So the threat of being sued shouldn't be a threat. We're working with what we already have. What we're asking for is to look forward for a just transition of a future where we're not always reliant on gas to be Commerce City. And that's kind of the concern, is that that's all we are, is open to business for only oil and gas in a way that it's not healthy, in a way that we should be able to question. And at this point, we should have already had steps to a just transition. And I find it concerning that we've already told so many times that our constituents have asked for a change way before I was on this council. And the only best business that we can bring them is another convenience store and another way to stigmatize them. So I really ask that council members kind of look within themselves when it comes to self-respect and what it looks like to have business, because we could also have a level and a standard of a morality that I don't think is reflected in a gas station and will not be for the future generations. And that is who we should be considering when we're honestly building a quality community for a lifetime.
Thank you. Councilmember Dukes.
Thank you. I just want to reiterate my reason why I'm not voting for this. Even though there's conversation about self-respect and moral compass and moral guidance, it's bigger than that. It's when you create bad policy, it has an impact for the communities we're serving. It has an impact that, you think about the totality of not having this discussion for 4 years of a comprehensive plan, having this random discussion now because of a study session. Now there's a concern. My goal, and I think when I listen to the citizens and listen to the residents, they want a comprehensive approach to helping bring retail, amenities, and grocery stores to our city. Having one-off moratoriums that collide with impact fees, that collide with sprinkler systems, that collide with other moratoriums doesn't help our community grow. And I do have self-respect for our community because they've been saying they want grocery stores. And I'm gonna do everything we can for our community to find grocery stores in Wards 3 and Wards 4 to make sure that they have opportunities. And this doesn't get us closer to that.
All right, we've heard enough here. On this subject, we also, in the last couple of years, have had 2 moratoriums, one on marijuana dispensaries and one on metro districts. So, and the outcome with the marijuana is we still ended up having marijuana shop up north. And then as far as metro district, that was lifted, but no applications have been processed yet. So, all right, so we're on to the vote. Let's see, let me read the motion again. The motion is, I would like to make a motion directing city staff to draft an ordinance creating a 1-year moratorium prohibiting city acceptance on approval of any new applications for the construction of future fuel cells operations to allow the city time to study the development and environmental impact of gas stations on the community.
Your vote is open.
Okay, that fails 4-4 with 1 excused absence. All right. Up next, presentation on oil and gas. I will invite Melanie Mascarinas, just all over the place. Melanie Mascarinas to the podium. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Melody Mascarinas with Energy Equity Environment. I'm the Sustainability Manager here at Commerce City.
Ms. Mascarinas, could you get closer to the mic, please?
Okay, sorry.
I know that mic's kind of short.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
It is.
It's
Not
too
that
short.
I'm tall, but okay. Hi, I'm Melody Mascarinas. I'm the Sustainability Manager here at Commerce City with the Energy Equity Environment Division. There are currently no oil and gas applications during this reporting period. As of May 13th, 2025, we have not received any ECMC oil and gas notice updates. Okay, this is something we've discussed before, was the plugging and abandonment in Commerce City. There's 3 sites here on this map. You've seen this before. We held a meeting with our engineering team and determined the applications and process. And from that, we had a follow-up meeting with Chevron about a week ago now, and we're in the process of going through this with Chevron. We'll have public meetings and we'll keep you informed. So right now it's just in the information gathering phase. So Adams County, our contact there, had no new oil and gas updates as of May 13th. Adams County will be incorporating a new ECMC cumulative impact rules during pre-application process for oil and gas. An ADCO community liaison and any adjacent local governments will receive an invite to attend the pre-application meeting if the site is in or near a disproportionately impacted community, DIC, or adjacent to a local government within 1 mile. Adams County has not received any applications under this new process, but envisions 2 to 3 occurring in the coming months that will need to follow this process. And that's information from our contact at Adams County. Okay. This is the environmental exceedance report for Suncor from March 15th to April 15th. There were a total of 2 reportable events and 3 exceedances. So the first 2 were on the same day, right there at the top of this table, and the second one was on April 11th. And in total, that was 3 exceedances. Thank you. Any questions?
Thank you. Any council members have questions? Councilmember Chacon?
I was curious, were you able to join the Holly Energy community, I believe, meeting that they had? It was to a draft permit with CDPHE in Henderson specifically. I know that a lot of community members showed, so did I and myself on our behalf, our personal behalf as residents. I mean, Councilmember Douglas and myself. Do you know any updates about that CDPHE draft? And I know that there was concerns about the VOC limits at that location.
Eve 3 did not attend the meeting. The permit for Holly Energy does not have it where it notifies the city. It just notifies the state and the county. I looked into that, but I can find out more information and provide that to you on the meeting if you'd like.
Can you? And if there's any future meetings for constituents that would like to join, because that directly impacts our community members.
Yes, I'll look into that. I'm also looking into how the city can be notified, why we were not notified of that. And I think that's just in the permit, and I'm talking to the state right now about that.
Let us know if we could help support you too. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any council members have questions? Councilmember Douglas?
Hi, thank you for the presentation tonight. Good to see you. I know there's some kind of hearing or something that's coming up on the Suncor flaring. And I believe they're presenting different kinds of options. Is there any possibility that you could look into it and see if a closed loop system is one of those options? I know it's more expensive, but it would certainly be beneficial towards negative impacts or limiting the negative impacts that it has on the city. And then I've also, if we could look into this as well, I've been getting a lot of complaints about burning at the Rocky Mountain Recycling Center. Lots of smoke coming off of there, so I don't know if they're in violation of their restrictions that they have, and I believe they've also been burning outside of the agreed hours that we made. So if that could be looked into as well, I'd really appreciate it.
We'll look into it.
Okay, thank you. Especially the closed loop system, because I don't think that's one of the options that they're looking at because it is more expensive, but I'd like it to be brought forward so that they could at least consider it.
We'll look into that.
Any other council members have questions? All right. Well, thank you. Appreciate the report. All right, we're going to take a 5-minute recess. Oh, Mayor Pro Tem, did you have a question? No? Okay. 5-minute recess. remove any item? Seeing none, I need a motion and second to approve the consent agenda as presented. Councilmember Teeter,
I move for approval of the consent calendar.
Councilmember Kim.
Second.
All right, with a first and a second, will the city clerk read the title and take a roll call vote?
Minutes of the May 12, 2025 special meeting, minutes of the May 19, 2025 special meeting, ordinance 2677, an ordinance amending the 2025 budget of the city of Commerce City, Colorado by the recognition of the Colorado Department of Transportation grant in the amount of $10,560 for the Click It or Ticket grant and the authorization of the expenditure thereof. Ordinance 2689, an ordinance amending the 2025 budget of the city of Commerce City, Colorado by appropriating unencumbered fund balance in the general fund in the amount of $99,000 for use on a community rink, ice rink, and holiday market, including specified intertransfer funds, interfund transfers, and authorization of the expenditure thereof. Ordinance Z24-0006, an ordinance amending the zoning ordinance and zoning map of the city of Commerce City, Colorado by rezoning the properties generally located at 6925 and 6981 East 54th Place from single-family attached residential district R-2 to medium-intensity industrial district I-2. Resolution 2025-066, or a resolution appointing substitute municipal court judge to assist the presiding judge. Your vote is open. Mayor Douglas. Thank you.
Okay, that passes 8 unanimous votes and 1 excused absence. Up next, administrative council business. All right, doing council members have administrative council business items, emergency or unforeseen circumstances. Mayor Pro Tem Noble.
Thank you very much, Mayor. I very much appreciate it. On Thursday night, the Commerce City held a Chambers Avenue widening community meeting. It was extremely well attended. People were very well informed, and yet at the same time had many, many questions as well. Chambers itself, between 104th and 120th, has been a topic of conversation for a long while. Of course, part of it is 4 lanes, part of it isn't. There are trouble areas such as getting out of King Supers onto Chambers. There is a new development project that's going to be coming in. There's so much going on. But the immediate issues are things that mattered a lot to people as well. We have tried, as a city in the past, to address some of those. We have one of those stop signs that lights up at 117th that was put in place at the request after residents complained about dangerous crossing at the park. The city conducted a traffic light study, which unfortunately didn't result in obtaining the kind of data they felt they needed in order to move forward with a traffic light. But since Thursday night and after the meeting, I had started talking to people after the meeting and continued the conversations for the next 48, 72 hours. And we have really good news for the residents of that area and people who drive Chambers Road on a regular basis. The city manager has, in particular, great immediate news. And then I would also like to I will be making a motion. So my motion will be with regards to Chambers and 117th. And I'm going to ask the city manager if he can share the good news about Chambers and Heartland first.
Mayor Pro Tem, just a second. Is that your motion?
No, I'm just asking, I'm going to be making, I said I'm going to be making a motion. Thank you.
City Manager Rogers?
Yes, thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. In regards to Chambers and Heartland, been able to have a due diligent conversation with our transportation engineer as well as our PW traffic division team, and we're able to take some immediate action with starting to look at some design and appropriation around whether it is going to be in the interim a temporary wire span or a permanent traffic signal at that intersection. I say temporary wire span, but hopefully a permanent design. Just thinking about the ultimate condition as we look at that widening project and whether or not we can design towards a full build-out solution and whether or not we could be able to accommodate that now going forward into the future without doing any tear-out improvements, if that makes sense, right? Don't want to build something now that would ultimately have to be torn out for ultimately the widening project. So we're going to be looking at design for both those improvements, and we'll bring back an appropriation for what we think is the most fiscally responsible for being able to move forward now and into the future for Heartland that would be able to meet that public safety issue that's been expressed by the residents and users of that roadway and at that intersection.
Okay, thank you very much. So I would like to make a motion on Chambers and 117th, which is to direct the city manager to identify options to address the community's traffic and pedestrian concerns at the intersection of 117th and Chambers Road, up to and including the potential installation of a traffic light. The city manager will report his findings back to council during the regular council meeting scheduled for Monday, July 21st. Please keep in mind that I have had conversation with our city manager as well as the city attorney about this. There are, I'll let the city attorney, or the city manager explain why there's some latitude now rather than me, but I could use a second on that.
Okay, well, I'll second that.
All right, thank you, Mayor. All righty.
City Manager Rogers, did you want to?
Yes, and I'm also going to look to my compatriot to my left as well, because we've spent, I think, in some really great just conversation coming out of last week's meeting. Obviously, we rely on what is the model uniform traffic control devices to help guide us from a technical review. But obviously, being a home rule municipality, it does give us some latitude in being able to look at the application of policy. So working with the city attorney's office and having obviously listened to some of the pragmatic issues, but also trying to apply some of the issues that we have to navigate from the technical perspective. I think this motion gives us the flexibility to be able to navigate that within a window that will allow for me to work with my team to bring back some of those solutions, as mentioned within the motion. That will allow for us to continue that fruitful discussion with you all on how to continue to proceed, and to be able to do so that I think will be able to give the community confidence, but also be able to address how you all can respond in kind to those concerns within the broader perspective of the residents. So,
Thank you, City Manager Rogers. I really appreciate that. I know I asked for some sort of control mechanism, even a temporary one at that intersection. And at that time was told that we didn't warrant. So this is really good to hear.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate that.
And neither did the study, but we have since found out that there are options. And so that's great news. In fact, it was first came to my attention after the meeting when someone spoke to me and said, you may be able to do more than you think. And next thing you know, here we are. So thank you very much. I really appreciate the quick turnaround.
Councilmember Kim?
Nothing.
Nope. Any other discussion? Councilmember Dukes?
Just want to show appreciation for City Manager and Mayor Pro Tem to talk through immediate opportunity. Sorry, I'm looking at the clock. It kind of went FO. I'm out. No, but just being able to find and have the discussion. One of the things that was clear at the community outreach that I was a part of was that there was immediate concerns and around safety. If you think about the values of safety, everyone, although the idea of chambers, people cared about the expansion, but at the heart of it, they were like, that sounds great, but we need things to take place now. And for the safety of our community. And you just extend the thank you for the effort to think through that, find some solutions. I know it's not going to happen overnight, but there's still steps to take. But it's great to show that our community was heard, and we're going to look at ways to make it safer.
Councilmember Douglas. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Councilmember Ford, did you want to have something to say to this? I know your name kept. Councilmember Douglas.
Yeah, I just want to say how appreciative I am and how happy I am to find out that we have worked around obstacles that had waylaid the possibilities in the past. So this is great news. I also attended that meeting, and people were, I mean, they want to find solutions. They're very concerned about the cost, where the money's coming from. I mean, there were so many concerns that were raised. People want to find solutions, and a lot of people were asking about completion of 112th because they also believe that that would be another way to alleviate traffic on Chambers Road. So I just really appreciate the fact that people took the initiative to look outside the box and come up with something that I think is going to be a very gratifying answer to the problems there.
Thank you. Councilmember Kim.
City Manager Rogers, first and foremost, I want to say thank you and your staff and also Mayor Pro Tem with regards to this altogether. As someone who does travel Chambers going northbound to 120th at 7 o'clock or 7:30, especially on a school day, and you're stuck there for about 45 minutes at that light before you can make a left turn go towards I-76, I really do appreciate this effort. My quick question, though, with regards to 120th, the expansion from that, east and westbound. My question is, do you have an idea or rough timeline as to when they believe that might occur? Because the understanding, I guess, what I'm understanding is there could be potentially a temporary solution placed at the 117th area to help alleviate that traffic, especially when we're going up, when we widen Chambers Road. But if 120th is not widened, then what happens?
City Manager Rogers.
I think I followed your question, so I will try to answer it as I understand it. I believe they are still waiting for bids to come back in. So we're waiting to understand what the total cost from the project will be. My understanding is that it does include intersection improvements at 120th. I believe those intersection improvements will extend a distance south. I don't know to what extent south into the intersection of 120th and Chambers that it will be, because I don't have the plan sets in front of me. The second part of your question again?
So it almost sounds like to me then, if, let's say, hypothetically, 120th is widened with 100, and obviously on Chambers Road, right? And we have 2 left turn lanes going westbound that occurs. The assumption then at that point would be the traffic may be less at those intersections at 117th to 119th.
Don't make me lie.
No,
I
I
have
know.
to circle back with our transportation engineer that would look at that information, and we can get that back to you and the rest of council.
I'd be definitely looking forward to seeing what you guys come back with altogether, so thank you.
Sure.
All right. Any other discussions or comments? Okay. So I'm sorry, hold me. Restate the motion. The motion is, I would like to make a motion directing city manager to identify options to address the community traffic and pedestrian concerns at the intersection of 117th and Chambers Road, up to and including the potential installation of a traffic light The city manager shall report his findings back to the council during the council regular meeting scheduled for Monday, July 21st, 2025.
Your vote is open.
This passes eight votes, 8 yes votes, and 1 excused absence. All right, next, is that all? Councilman Mayor Pro Tem, is that it?
Actually, I did have other items, but I can wait if you want to go to other people first.
Okay, Councilmember Ford.
Thank you. The first thing I have is a question for staff. Denver, Mayor Johnson has started to majorly enforce their camping ban. Where are we at with our camping ban, given the comments from our constituents tonight? Should we be putting a little more pressure on the activity surrounding homelessness and piling up of garbage and debris?
Yeah, that's a very good question, and I think that's a great policy question. One, I will answer that question for you. One, because it leads me back to a policy guidance question that I have for council, because the ordinance that we have in place under section 3012 under the municipal code already grants the ability for issuing citations, making arrests, and the sort, after making verbal, issuing a verbal warning and then taking the next step of issuing a citation. Now, the previous deliberative conversation that we had as a body, and I mean that as a body of the organization, was then establishing a policy that has led to what we've had in practice and is posted on our website of when we have an active encampment on public property, whether it's a sidewalk, a non-park property, because it's very clear with what and how we handle in parks and with park rangers and or PD. But when we handle like the situations that we have off of 62nd or on URA property and or as such, PD will go out, will make contact. They'll make a determination, they will interview, they will investigate, they will identify, they will interact with individuals. They will then contact our community well-being group. Our community well-being group will come out. They will try to attempt to offer resources before addressing and making or then seeking an abatement of that encampment. So we offer them to say, hey, there's an opportunity for you to either vacate with resources, so relocate. We now have a vehicle to help relocate them to a facility that may offer them a night at a motel with vouchers, or a facility that may have the life skills sources that they can utilize. If not, PD can then schedule a cleanup with PW, and then PD will come back the next day. What we have experienced in some of these instances most recently is that we'll see that they move from one side of the street to the next side of the street. They'll move back to the other side of the street, up the street, across the street, back down the street. They're not really relocating as what we see. So it's kind of caused and created to the concerns of the community, this conundrum. But it's kind of still within this deliberative discussion that we've had of we've not wanted to take that next step as an organization of truly criminalizing the urban encampments, which is really citing and or making arrests or truly, like I said, going that next step. And if there's a desire by council from a policy perspective then operationally, I have no concerns or issues of going to that level.
Well, it's a concern because when we have residents come in here and say, we're not doing our job, we're not helping quality community for a lifetime. I heard that come up tonight. These are things that are negatively impacting our residents in a very detrimental manner. I go up to Tasty Donuts almost every single morning, 4 out of 5 days of the week, and have coffee and donuts. And there's a homeless guy that lives in Derby. They call him Stomper. He comes into the donut shop one day, no pants on at all, pounding on windows of businesses, and he jumps around and stomps around in Derby. And people they look at me and they go, why are you allowing this to happen? I'm not allowing it to happen. That guy needs mental help.
Yeah.
He's not getting it. And the more we let people like that just hang out and cause havoc in our community, the more we're going to get blamed for not doing anything.
Yes.
And so I want to start cleaning up the piles of garbage that they leave behind. I want to make sure that we don't, when I was a kid in Commerce City growing up, that was vagrancy. You weren't allowed to do that. Where are they going to the bathroom? We were talking about Tasty Donuts having to close because they didn't have a public restroom, and now we're supporting this going on, and there's nowhere for these people to go to the bathroom or anything else. I want to step it up.
Yep.
I'm one of 9, but tonight I have to say it's time to step it up. When Denver enforces their public camping ban and we're negatively affected, we have to do something or we're going to end up with all of their problems.
Councilmember Ford, would you like to make a motion?
Mayor,
I don't know as though I need a motion. I want to hear,
City Manager Rogers?
how's the best way to manage this? Because I don't want to do a motion. I would rather have my colleagues give some direction to you so that you have clear and concise direction on being able to take some of this into concern.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Councilmember Ford. And Mayor, I don't know if it's necessarily a motion. It's
Okay.
like I said, it's more about the policy guidance and leadership. Like I said, I already have the ability to enforce. The thing that has been a place of navigation, a navigation issue for me, not necessarily an issue, but one that we have tried to be balanced on, has been how to be sensitive to the perspectives of the council, because the perspectives of the council have been to be impassioned to the plight of those that are living on our streets, but also to have them respect the rules and the regulations that we have in place. We are seeing more of those rules and regulations being broken, and it's making it harder for our operations and those who enforce those operations on the day-to-day. So if we all want to be successful, and that's what I'm hearing, to me, it's now time for us to step that enforcement up a level, which I then need your support, when ultimately we're going to hear from those who are impassioned to be less harder on individuals when it comes to a heavier hand of enforcement than not, and being more, obviously, more on the side of criminalization of it with arrest and or citations and the such as we have it under our policies and our regulations. I just want to make sure that I have your policy support and your leadership and your guidance in that aspect.
Any council members like to weigh in on what the comments? Okay. Mayor Pro Tem Noble?
Thank you very much. That's why I thought actually taking a vote on this made sense. It's typically not allowed by certain people to be able to direct the city manager to do anything, and that was how it was expressed. So I think that we should probably have a fulsome conversation about this, and I would really appreciate having experts come and talk with us who have faces in their own communities and what they're doing about it, because I don't know, I don't even know what it is that you're thinking is going to be the next step. So making I don't even know what we're agreeing to. You're asking us to agree to something that, and I don't know what that is. Are you bringing a paddy wagon around? I'm not sure what you have in mind. So somewhere between this point and this point are the parameters on which the council agrees that this can be accomplished. But I do think it requires a conversation by all of us. Absolutely, they should not be on that fence. I've seen them. I don't need to drive over there tonight because I've seen them. It's also something that people going up and down Highway 85 can see, and see Commerce City that way as well. It's very, very, very visible. Not only is it affecting individual residents, but it's also affecting further affecting our reputation. So I would like to see something happen, but what that is, I feel, needs to be discussed.
Councilmember Dukes?
I know the city manager, city attorney are kind of chatting about possibilities, but I just want to add, I know as you're chatting about what's the positive motion, I would like to see more, I don't want a criminalization, but more enforcement. I think the idea of abatement, personally, if I'm down in the South Commerce City a lot, and I've seen the encampment on Highway 2 slowly get bigger, get bigger, get bigger, get bigger, and then the tents, and then the trash. And I think it could be an abatement issue, meaning that I would like to increase the number of points of contact that our city staff has with the unhoused community. One, not just for ticketing or fines, but ensuring they understand and know about resources, following up with the resources, following up with the cleanup, right, consistently, and then following up more resources, and then leads to whatever punishment it takes place with our police department. But for me, I think we have the tools. We just got to activate more of the tools to increase points of contact, decrease the time for abatement, and then do more follow-up for the cleanup.
Thank you. Councilmember Kim?
We've had plenty of issues down in the South, and I've seen it myself as well. People who do camp out in those areas, people who do, who say they accept the help, but then they end up coming back afterwards anyways. It's a consistent and constant issue that has happened. So from my vantage point, I say that, you have my full support to do a ban. We put a ban on this, tell everybody to go, unfortunately. I mean, if you got Denver doing it, and you've got folks that are out there who are not accepting the resources because this is how they choose to live, it's something that, it's like, you gotta move on. We've seen it at Veterans Park, right? We've seen it along Highway 2. We've seen it behind the King Soopers, Walmart, in front of as what Councilmember Ford was saying, in front of Tasty Donuts, in front of the other Derby businesses, because we got legit businesses out there that are trying to do business, but then when you've got, it's unfortunate too, the houseless population that's in that area, not many people really want to show up to those businesses. So from my perspective, I think, if we want to explore a ban during a study session, I'd be happy to support that. So that, or maybe exploring other options during a study session, I'd be happy to support that as well, so that we can potentially assist and support you by providing a meaningful feedback, if that makes sense.
Just for a point of clarity, we already have a ban, and I guess for me to be a little bit more clear, with the process I just walked through, it has been our typical process. What I am outlining that what we would do is is accelerating how we would ask people to move on in our enforcement and not walk through all of those various steps of offering resources. So we would accelerate our use of tools to encourage relocation of our ban. So utilizing the tools that we have in our toolkit in a much more accelerated pace.
So move them along as quick as possible. No resources, just move.
Correct.
Copy. I'm good with that.
Councilmember Chacon.
I want people to keep in mind that there was public housing and affordable housing prior to Reagan, that there was literally whole cities that didn't have houselessness to this degree. So when we're really having this discussion, I asked that, and I would love to provide maybe a study session we should consider, because the author lives, I believe, in Denver, for homelessness is a housing crisis. If we're gonna have the discussion of continuing enforcement in that space, we should also have the discussion of shelters. We should have the discussion of public housing. We should have the discussion of Yigby. Aurora, I believe, actually worked with a local church that was able to establish a micro community. I understand the concern about relocation, but if we continue to also, as stated even in the book, to just relocate, people die. And these are vets, and it's not just people with mental health issues, but those are also resources and legal advocacy that we should continue. I understand that the city's already strained as it is, so us researching and having a steady development of what it also means to house or have some type of micro-community with this community needs to also be decided too. Because it isn't just about criminalization, but it's about also dehumanizing our houseless relatives too, when we have so many constituents are just as close to houselessness too. What happens to them? And what are we really saying to our constituents when we're not considering all of the avenues of trying to have affordable housing and then just moving out to somebody else that we're just a paycheck or two away from being them as well? So I would want to have a fuller discussion than just looking at houselessness as a symptom instead of the actual root cause of what's causing a lot of these issues. And it's incredibly disappointing that Denver continues to push out their houseless relatives when they do have resources that could have had shelters. And maybe we can make an example to have that discussion with other cities as well that are trying to take more of a public housing and affordable housing approach.
All right, still in the first round. Councilmember Douglas, did you have any weigh in?
Yes, actually, I've been bringing this up frequently. I know one night we were going over future study session topics, and I asked that homelessness be added in, and I haven't seen that happen so far, but I can say this is a problem that is bigger than Commerce City. And so what they're doing is pushing what they don't want into our neighborhoods, and then our constituents have to deal with it. And it's not right, especially when you have people who refuse services and then they trash an area and move on to the next place, leaving their trash behind. I have had situations where I have gone back to a site to make sure that there was follow-up from the city. I've seen the police there thinking that it was going to be taken care of, and it only got bigger and worse. And then when I report it in through the system, I send in pictures and everything, and I hear that it's taken care of, but then I go back and I see that it's not taken care of. I get pictures from constituents saying, hey, it's gotten worse. So this is something that we're gonna need, we're gonna have to collaborate with the cities who have the resources, and we're going to have to not take it upon ourselves to take on everyone else's burden from around the area. We're seeing it because we're on Denver's border, and That's where they're showing up. But that doesn't mean that our constituents deserve to have to contend with this. It's an issue, and some of the people, like Councilmember Ford was talking about, they're mentally ill, which makes them dangerous. And yes, this did happen because of, I'm sorry, but the Reagan administration coming in, and that's when facilities for mental illness health help disappeared. And it was because of budget cuts, so they're not taking care of the vulnerable people, but then it's turned into something that is huge. So unless we start working collaboratively with the other municipalities who have the resources and work together, we're going to continue to have this problem, and we've got to do something about it. But that means talking to others. I was totally against having a mobile unit come in at our expense, because I thought that was something that the county should take on. Why isn't the county stepping up for these kinds of things? Because it's easy to push the easy button when Commerce City will step up to the plate and take care of it. No, I've said it from this dais many times. We've got to start working together, and we've got to do something to alleviate this problem. I mean, if it means making arrests for drug abuse, alcohol use, loitering, vagrancy, littering, whatever, then so be it.
Okay, before I go to Councilmember Ford for a motion, I would say for right now to be more aggressive to get these people off the property, because they're just there all the time. Even if you have a unit that comes, and at the same time, police comes to make sure that the workers are safe. Have one of those mobile dump trucks and just move their contents out as far as trash and all that. Ask them to leave the premises. And I understand we don't have any place for them to go, but for them just to go from one corner in the front adjacent to Keene Supers and go over there. I don't know if we give them bus passes or so, but we really do need to be proactive on this. And because there are people out there that know the rules, and they know, hey, we'll leave, and they go to another place. So I think a little more force behind it, sending the message. It doesn't have to be physical, but I think this is a human and health issue, because those folks aren't out there just for one day. They're out there camping out. So I can see if someone's out there for a little bit, but this just goes on. And I've had so many emails over the weekend stating this for different people. I myself have put in to have this taken care of along with other council members. And I know there's other places as well that we have trash and debris and everything, but this is becoming a nuisance because it's actually the face of Commerce City when people drive by there and they see that. That's the bad part. And that's a reflection on us. City Manager Rogers, do you want to?
Thank you, Mayor. Like I said, I don't think I need a motion. This is the conversation that I was looking for. I got what I heard. I have your support. I have what I need. I can give the direction that I have with the authority under the charter that allows me to be a little bit more aggressive with our enforcement, but not to be able to get the point home with how we need to be more successful for our community around this matter that is of concern broadly with our members of our community, both residential and non. So thank you for this policy guidance that will help me and my team with this operation. So thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Ford?
Yeah. After listening to everybody and sitting here thinking, We've talked about this for a long time. We can have more studies, more this, more that. You look at what happened to San Francisco. Now they're starting to enforce their camping ban because their city's been destroyed. There's not a single one of us in this room that would want this in front of our homes. I don't have a problem with somebody being homeless. I have a problem with people being pigs and disrespectful to the area that they're in. I have a problem with them taking the shopping carts and piling up crap in front of somebody's house. I represent the house, the people that live in the house that the people are piling their crap in front of. It's not okay. I realize you don't want a motion, but I really feel just for relevance and to be able to track the issue, I would, and after having these residents before us, I'd like to make a motion to direct staff to increase enforcement on our current city camping ban to include up to arrests and citations moving forward. That's my motion.
Second? Councilmember Teeter?
I'll second that motion.
Okay. Councilmember Ford, I didn't have time to write down your motion. Could you repeat your motion?
I'd like to, the motion is direct staff to increase enforcement on our current camping ban, including up to arrests and citations.
Okay, thank you.
Are you ready, Mayor? Did you want to ask for
Yes.
discussion? Okay. Your vote is open.
Okay, that passes eight yeses and one excused absence. All right, Councilmember Ford, was that it?
No, I have one other.
Okay.
Given Given the past weekend and my morality, I would like to support the city of Boulder and the folks that were out doing their nonviolent acts. I would like to make a motion condemning the terrorist act that took place this weekend in Boulder.
Your motion is to support?
Condemn the terrorist act that took place this weekend in
So you're supporting Boulder?
Supporting Boulder by condemning the terrorist attack that took place this weekend in Boulder.
Okay, supporting, okay. All right, Councilmember Kim, are you second?
I will be a second on that one.
Okay. All right, any discussion? Okay, the motion on the floor is to support the condemning, go ahead, Councilmember Ford.
Mayor, I can read it for you if
Sure.
you'd like.
Oh, you have it?
It's a
Okay.
motion condemning the terrorist attack that took place in Boulder over the
Thank you.
weekend.
All right, that's a motion. You're ready.
Your vote is open.
Did you have something? All right, passed unanimously, 8 with 1 excused absence. Okay, Mayor Pro Tem, did you have something else that you wanted to? I don't know. Nope, okay. Councilmember Kim, did you have something? Nope, okay. Your name is still on the list.
Oh, yes, I do.
Okay. Mayor Pro Tem Noble.
Yes, thank you very much. There is a field, a very large field behind Landmark Academy. The grass in that field is probably hip-high right now in some parts of it. A third of the field is a detention basin. The other 2/3 is just flat. Over the last couple of years, the city has mowed that field because it's actually city-owned property. I just want to say for the record that I am gravely concerned. I don't have to, I will repeat that I lost my home in a wildfire. I am extremely conscious of the dangers of wildfire. of tall, natural grasses. I don't care whether they're weeds or natural grasses. The folks in the Marshall Fire will tell you those were grasses also. The city has determined that they are not going to mow that field this year. And I just want to be on record to say that I object from the point of view of health and safety.
Thank you. Councilmember Teeter. Yes. Okay. Anyone else, Councilmember administrative business? All right. Okay. All right, Councilmember Douglas.
Thank you. This is off the cuff, but this is something that I've been thinking about for a very long time. And I brought it up a couple of times, actually. But we just went to our granddaughter's graduation, and the valedictorian did a land acknowledgement. And I have brought that up before. And I thought that it's something that we really, really need to consider doing. I'd like to see it at the beginning of our regular meetings as we honor our flag and have a moment of silence. But I also feel that it's very appropriate to acknowledge the native lands that we have built this magnificent country on at the sacrifice of so many and those whose land was taken. And so I'm going to go ahead and make a motion that I would like to have a land acknowledgement put together. I would like to have that spoken at each of the regular meetings. And that is my motion.
Okay, your motion is to make a, go ahead and say it again, because I didn't hear what you said.
I would like to have a land acknowledgement put together and presented at each of the regular meetings to follow the Pledge of Allegiance.
Okay, second. Councilmember Chacon.
I'd like to second, and just to reiterate how actually important that really is, the City of Denver has been doing, I believe her name is Stacy Gilmore. She actually recently had one last week at the Rocky Mountain Arsenal in calling back the local indigenous tribes. So Denver, Northglenn just passed theirs as well. So this isn't just a trend, it's legitimately to bring back a lot of communities that have been harmed, a lot of communities that are still our workforce too. So I think it's incredibly important to recognize it's a large part of our constituents, especially here in Adams County, and it would mean a lot to those indigenous communities that have been here continually to finally be acknowledged for the homelands that we are on.
All right. Councilmember Teeter, do you have a? Yes. No, yes, we're at discussion. Yes.
If we're going to have a land acknowledgement, the last one I seen was they were condemning the white man for coming west and blaming him for Sand Creek Massacre. And if we're going to have a land acknowledgement speech, well, we also need to have them acknowledge that 32 massacres that they created onto the white man before Sand Creek happened.
Councilmember Chacon?
I don't know who he's talking to, but they're not blaming the white man. It was blamed on Governor John Evans specifically for creating an entire act that wasn't written out until 2019 that you can kill and destroy an indigenous person on site. If there are other massacres you would like to discuss, then by all means, learn from history. But this is still to acknowledge that we are on stolen land. There are 575 tribes that no treaty was ever honored. And this isn't just about race, as you continually make it. This is legitimately about understanding historically exploited communities and the methodology that has harmed systemically, not just Indigenous communities, but BIPOC communities and many other communities since. So a land acknowledgement is also recognizing that with that type of awareness and learning from it, so there's not more racial segregation.
Thank you. Councilmember Dukes.
I guess just point of order, is Councilmember Teeter offering a friendly amendment, or is that just a comment, or, because there's a motion about the land acknowledgement? Sorry, it's curiosity.
That was a friendly amendment on if they're going to put it in there, let's put the whole truth in.
Thank you. I will not accept that, look, you challenge that amendment. This is, the land acknowledgement is not about the white man being attacked. This is about land that Indigenous people were here first, and their land was taken from them. So that land acknowledgement needs to, that's what's being stated. It's not saying attack on anyone. So,
Well, once again, it was taken by the country of Spain and France, and then it was purchased through the Louisiana Purchase from France.
that was Louisiana. Thank you. All right, call for the vote.
Your vote is open.
Sorry, point of order. It was a friendly amendment, and the mayor said we're not going to have a friendly amendment, which is part of the process. But we still have to vote on the amendment itself before we vote on the land acknowledgement. Is that correct?
It is not correct, only in that it was a proposed friendly amendment. If the motion maker to the amendment would like to actually formally make an amendment, he can. So
Is this vote just on the land, the original, the principal motion?
Correct. Unless someone would like to formally make a motion to amend, that's not a friendly amendment.
Also didn't accept the friendly amendment. It was challenged, so once it's challenged, it's, okay.
Councilmember Chacon. Thank you.
That passes 6-2. All right. Okay.
Mayor, may I ask a question, please?
Sure.
So there are a couple of ways, I think I just need direction. Staff might need direction on how to bring that forward. What you could do is have it in the city council policy, right? You have there's a policy that lays out what an agenda sort of format should look like. I know city council in Denver did this, and I believe that they have formalized it in their procedures where they have that land acknowledgement right after the Pledge of Allegiance. If that were the case, I think the process that we could use is bringing this forward through either a study session, a regular meeting, or a policy and governance committee meeting with draft language and clarification that we're changing the council policy that adds that as the format.
Okay. Would anybody like to make a motion to bring this to policy and governance? Councilmember Chacon.
I would like to make a motion to bring it to policy and governance to put it in the agenda as right after our.
Mayor Pro Tem Noble?
I'll second that.
Okay. All right, the motion on the floor is to bring this to policy and governance on land acknowledgement after the Pledge of Allegiance. Any discussion? Okay. All right.
Your vote is open.
passes 6-2 with one excused absence. Okay, thank you for that clarification, City Manager Zarzaki. All right, seeing no other administrative business, on to reports. City Manager Rogers.
Thank you, sir. I'm going to take you through the July 7th meeting very quickly, sir, kicking off the events of that night. Obviously, we have our standing public comment. Currently, we have two presentations. We have the EPIC yearly update as well as our standing oil and gas monthly update. On consent, we have a resolution authorizing the execution of an IGA between the city and CDOT for the funding of the Chambers Road widening project. Another resolution for an IGA between the city and CDOT for 88th Avenue widening project. We have a resolution awarding a contract for the ice rink and holiday market. We have another resolution for an IGA between city and CDOT for the rehabilitation of bridge at Tower Road and Third Creek. We have the recognition of federal funds in the amount of 4.116 for Chambers Road widening for federal dollars. We have a budget amendment for transfer of audit revenue CIP for police substation. We have another ordinance amendment for 1.9 and some change for Highway 2 median improvements. And then we have an ordinance for 99,000, which was heard on first reading today, as well as another ordinance in the amount of 5 million for the widening of 88th Avenue ordinance in the amount, that's a recognition for CDOT grant funds. And then we have an ordinance for the widening of 88th Avenue project, CDOT IGA, Third Amendment. We have proclamation declaring July 2025 Parks and Recreation Month. We have a resolution awarding the Buffalo Run Clubhouse renovation contract on resolution. And then we have the Civic Center remodel ordinance under ordinances on first reading. And then we have executive session for the municipal judge. That brings us slated to 11:05 p.m. On July 21st, we have the 2025 Memorial Day Parade award winners. That's under recognitions. We have a presentation on the CIP updates, draft 2026-2030 CIP. Just as a friendly reminder, during your winter planning retreat, you had identified this as a date that you would have peak facilitation. Ms. Heather Bergman, here to help navigate that discussion with you all. So just keep that in the back hip as a reminder. On consent, we would have proclamation declaring August 2025 Employee Appreciation Month. We would have a coordinated election IGA as a resolution. We have resolution 2025-83 authorizing award of contract for the Second Creek Farms Park. We then have CDBG Consolidated Plan Annual Work Plan under public hearing, and then a resolution for a temporary construction easement for right turn lane on Tower Road onto East 88th Avenue, Second Creek Farm Townhome Development Final Plat Development Agreement. Tentatively adjourning at 9:45 p.m. Any questions on the July 7th and July 21st agendas?
Mayor Pro Tem Noble?
Yes, thank you very much. Do remember to add to the July 21st meeting, the discussion of 117th in
Yes, ma'am.
Chambers. Also, what were you saying about Heather? I had wondered what had happened to her.
So from the winter planning retreat, one of the discussion pieces from her summary report was that she would help facilitate the discussion around the CIP program updates and draft 2030 program. So the date right now is July 21st. So that would be the date that she would help you all in that discussion.
All right. And my other question for you is that I noticed the Buffalo Run Clubhouse allocation, but the city has been advertising that there will be improvements, or not improvements, but repairs at the Buffalo Run Clubhouse. I was wondering why we're doing repairs now when we're going to be redoing the clubhouse itself?
Yes. So the repairs in of themselves are independent from the work that would be done with the expansion and the renovation. So obviously with where the fire damage had occurred, with respect to the front entry that is under repair, and with where the majority of that work would be done and the timing in which the construction would begin, we did not want to leave that space unattended to. So that's why we are moving forward now to remediate that issue and to bring that space back.
Does that mean the $13 million budget for the remodel will be decreased a bit then? Because,
No, ma'am.
oh, it would seem that we would have been working on the exterior as well when in the remodel.
So the funds that we are working from are coming from, I want to make sure I make sure I'm tapping the right dollars. The funds that we are working from for the repairs are coming from loss contingency for the Buffalo Run Golf Course. The $13 million for the renovation remain intact for the greater expansion. My math remains correct.
What are the repairs? Where is the repair money coming from?
Loss contingency.
Is that an insurance thing?
No. Yes. So loss contingency is a fund that we have as a city when we experience unintended events such as fire damage, flood damage, that allows for us to take on emergent events. We will then be able to see when we submit those invoices to insurance, what we may then be able to recoup from CIRSA. So we are not tapping the 13.6 million from the expansion and renovation funds.
I understand that. I just was thinking, well, maybe we could actually reduce the 13.6 because we will be spending money on other things that would have been part of the remodel.
No, ma'am, we are simply bringing it back to what it was beforehand.
Any other discussion? So I had a question that said that on July 7th, something about this police substation audit transfer?
Yes, sir. So that is a request that we have made, that we are making to you all. That is a choice that council can or cannot make in support of the fund that we have already established previously. What we have done the last 2 years in support of the substation is when it's come to sales tax revenue audit dollars to help towards that project, we have shifted the sales tax audit dollars into that CIP project to help close the gap. Once again, the council can either elect to shift those dollars right now, which is estimated to be in the range of $4.62 to $5 million, into the CIP fund for the substation, or into another project.
How much money is the audit? The transfer?
Right now, we're estimating 4.62 to 5 million, but that number will become more clear as we, over the next week or two.
It was just shy of 5 million.
Just shy of 5 million is what Ms. Carstens whispered into my ear.
So right now, within that,
For this, it's per calendar year. So for this calendar year, it's just shy of 5 million.
so you're saying as far as the bucket for 2025, $5 million would go in until there's enough funds to build this. Is that what you're saying?
That would be added to the existing CIP fund for the substation. So the CIP fund for the existing substation right now is at approximately 14.5 million.
Okay,
So this would be adding another approximately shy of 5 million. So it would bring the total to around 20 or so million.
I see, okay. All right. And I was gonna ask about the Bison Grill as well. So the work that's being done, it's internal. Now, will that structure, because of the design, we don't know what the design is gonna look like. If it happens that the design is gonna change all that, would that really be worth fixing that? Because I think if we're gonna, to me, if we're going to, we're already going to go forward with the new design and expansion of the restaurant, wouldn't it be better just to make small modifications, so as improvements, instead of actually restoring it back to where it was, so we could save money? I mean, it is what it is, because we are going to.
Great question, Mayor. These are questions when we were sitting down with the restoration company and obviously looking at the design of, or the finalization of the design process, and obviously the construction drawings for the renovation, if there was any dovetailing or overlap between those efforts, what would be the smart process as far as next steps with any restoration and or marrying the two together? And it was our understanding that there was no sequencing of those two together. So they would be happening in parallel. So the restoration and the expansion did not come together, did not marry, did not couple. So it made sense for us to move forward with the restoration and being able to bring that back to what was that exterior finish, and given and knowing that that expansion was not going to have any, was not going to be affected to the overall project, it made sense for us to move forward and to get the project, or to get that facility back to what was its existing condition.
And what's that cost going to be, initial cost to make those repairs?
Since I don't have that in front of me, I will have to ask Ms. Carstens to pull that up. And then I can respond to you, Mayor.
Yep.
Just over 102,000, Mayor.
Oh, okay. All right. I know that's a lot of money, but I thought it was more than that. Okay. Thank you.
Welcome, sir. Just a couple of brief updates for you, Mayor and Council. From an economic development perspective, our economic development team is partnering with Colorado State University to offer a 11-week course in Spanish titled Aging Mastery at our Small Business Resource Center located in Derby. This course is aimed at community members aged 55 and above, focusing on ways to enhance their success by providing insights on various topics, including sleep, exercise, nutrition, community engagement, and financial planning. CCPD, K9, our first K9. K9 Delta made its first gun seizure as part of our first K9 program last week in locating a firearm hidden inside a vehicle after a felony menacing call for service. And K9 Holland also located some shell casings after shots fired called of service last week. So That was their first week in service, and they were both issued and called out, and had 2 very successful calls for service. So good calls for K9 Delta and Holland. And as far as drones as first responder update, we have completed the installation of the frame and docking stations at the MSC in Bison Ridge. Eagle Point will begin tomorrow. Once those installs are complete, we'll have one last step with final training and deployment. Our real-time crime center hiring continues, and we're getting some pretty great responses with getting those positions into the next stage of the hiring process. So we're hoping that we'll be fully hired up in that aspect by late July, very early August. So very, very excited about that. And then last but not least, want to be able to push out that the CCPD is on the hunt looking for creating a neighborhood watch programs. We are currently recruiting neighbors who are wishing to form a watch program with our newly reinstated crime prevention unit that will help to get organized meetings within your neighborhoods. If there is interest, please submit an email at crimeprevention@c3gov.com. And that is all. Oh, sorry. I think this will be of an interest for the council. I would also like to raise that we are currently working on the release of the lobbying contract, RFP, for the upcoming year. The most recent lobbying contract that we all had with Purple Label and Patton Squire Boggs was for only 1 year. So it has required us to go back out for an RFP. This RFP will be for a 1-year contract, but 4-year, one-year extensions, as this is a direct service to the council. This is a rare opportunity as part of the procurement process to have 2 members of council to participate on the review/selection panel that would ultimately make a recommendation to the full council. So what I am inviting is for council to be able at a future council meeting to appoint 2 members of council. And why I say 2 is that it will allow for the selection panel and for the RFPs and the interviewees to remain confidential, as it is still a deliberative process, a confidential process. And obviously having 3 or more would require us to post those individuals and interviewees. That I would like to offer that you all to be a part of the process, given it is a direct service to you. So I simply would like to put that offer out on table for you all if you would like to have that as part of your next conversation on the June 16th regular meeting to appoint 2 members to that review panel and selection committee.
All right, Mayor Pro Tem Noble?
Thank you very much. Actually, the Legislative Committee is something that I wanted to bring before Policy and Governance. The Legislative Committee is one of 4 council committees that we have. It says in our policy, council policies, it says that all committees belong to the City Council. What our role in this is very similar to what our role was on the Retreat Committee. The Retreat Committee interviewed candidates and then brought forward our recommendation to the City Council for their vote. Please note that the Legislative Committee already has 2 appointees. We made these appointments at the December Organizing Committee. The 2 appointees on the Legislative Committee are Mayor Douglas and myself. So in theory, if we followed procedure, we followed process, we followed the norms of the City Council, that has already been determined. My question is, which I want to have discussed at Policy and Governance, is our role in the Legislative Committee and whether our role is as it should be, or if it has been diluted or needs to be strengthened. So please know I'll be bringing that forward at the next Policy and Governance Committee meeting as well.
That is all, Mayor.
Okay, thank you. City Attorney Zarzaki.
I just have one item for you all. I sent an email to each of you on Friday just outlining the two executive orders that were issued. There's an update this morning that DHS was obligated under the president's executive order to issue a list of sanctuary cities. I've outlined that in my email on Friday. Just for your awareness, DHS took down that list of sanctuary cities this morning. That has created quite the stir for municipalities and counties throughout the country trying to understand why they took it down. My suspicion is that they're altering that list. But I just wanted to make you aware of that. If you were to click on the link that I provided on Friday, you're going to come up with something that doesn't exist anymore. So I will provide you all with an update via email when I get an update, but that is it. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other council members? Okay, now, any council members have any reports they'd like to make? Councilmember Teeter.
Yes. I wanted to report on the parade. It was a big success, and I think the committee did well. And we only had two flaws that didn't go well, and that was the DuPont dancers kind of held things up there for a while. They were dancing just a little bit too much and getting a little carried away, which we was wondering why there was a big gap in the parade, but nobody told them to quit dancing. But and then we never got a flyover, so, but I'm told that we have connections now for next year for the flyover, so maybe we can make it happen next year. And if anybody has anything else that good or bad, or please let myself or Craig Kim know, and for next year's committee. But or if got any other ideas on how we can make it better, let us know. And I got some other good news. I just received an email last Wednesday saying that they actually picked up 78 bags of trash on I-270. And they're going to be working for the next 2 weeks picking up trash on I-270 and I-76. So that's we've been working on that for a long time, and it's finally happening. It's what I'm told. I haven't been by there yet. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Councilmember Kim.
Thank you, Mayor. Just a few things. Yeah, I did attend the Memorial Day Parade on May 26th. I just want to say thank you to the staff, CCPD, Public Works, everyone was there. Huge shout out to Travis Huntington, who's probably back there listening to us on this conversation, even though I technically don't do that as much with him, give him positive praise. But truly a special shout out to the marching band at Adams City High School that came out. I was happy to see them there. I know during one of the meetings, we talked about the marching band. I put a message out there to the Adams 14 School Board, and it was great to see them out there all together. So thank you, thank you, thank you. International Council of Shopping Centers debrief with the Economic Development Team and Mayor Douglas on May 27th. I know more information about this will be coming out in the future, but all the contacts that I had, I made sure I shared out with the various developers that I knew to reach out to see if maybe there might be some of those that might be interested in coming to our city. Attended the DEI meeting on May 28th. A couple of key takeaways I want to throw out there is on Saturday, June 19th from 4:30 to 7:30 at Pioneer Park is the Juneteenth celebration, but most importantly, they're going to have a spades tournament. I am not the greatest at spades, but if you are, registration is the deadline to register is June 12th. And you can visit c3gov.com/Juneteenth. Secondly, part of that DEI meeting that I had Saturday, July 26th from 1 to 4 p.m. at Pioneer Park, there will be a back-to-school backpack giveaway pre-filled with school supplies for the upcoming school year. So for those that are still listening in on this, please make sure that you mark your calendars for that. I also attended the Chambers widening meeting on May 29th. The last thing too I want to mention is that I will not be in town for the study session next Monday. I will be flying back into town that evening, unfortunately. And finally, to the same thing, almost what Councilmember Ford had made a motion for regarding Boulder. The tragic events that unfolded in Boulder over the weekend were utterly unwarranted. Regardless of differing viewpoints, the physical assaults were nothing short of disgusting. To me, it is unconscionable to violently attack individuals who were engaged in a scheduled peaceful protest. I sincerely hope that the perpetrator faces the full extent of the law, spends a long time in jail, and potentially deported. That's all I've got. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Chacon.
I wanted to make council and our constituents aware that they're offering a 270 steering committee for community members. It is paid if you would like to join. Right now, they are looking for 4 community members that could join. It's also for bilingual, and I believe next week on Tuesday, there will be a toxic tour with CDPHE and a number of civic engineers and others at 270, the expansion there. So if anybody would like to join, I can forward that information so you can know who's going to be in that expansion specifically, and it's the one right here off of Highway 6 or so. And trying to think, there's another committee that I believe is opening for landfill methane, and they are just wanting constituents that live in and around the tower one if they would be interested in giving community feedback. So those are just 2 that I wanted to let community know, and I could forward the links and information.
Thank you. Okay, Mayor Pro Tem Noel.
Thanks very much. I wanted to compliment everyone on the Memorial Day Parade and the just everything from the beginning when we have the ceremony at Veterans Park on through the parade. There are very different moods, of course, and the parade always winds up being fairly jovial, but of course, it's a very serious day, and recognizing those who gave their lives for this country. The following day, I was at Buffalo Run Drive, and I want to thank our interim Public Works Director, Jenna Hahn, also Michael Rank with Public Works, and Sergeant Gray and Councilmember Dukes, who came as well to discuss the issues on Buffalo Run Drive, which may have become a through street inadvertently for drivers from Buckley, but we're hoping to figure out what's going on and why there's speeding happening, even though there's speed bumps and traffic calming, and there's a lot of challenges on that road. So we're going to try and get that worked out as well. I already talked about the meeting on Thursday night. I very much appreciate the effort and the turnout that we had. So thank you all. That's all I have.
Thank you. All right, Councilmember Dukes.
Thank you. A couple of quick updates. One, attended the chamber widening meeting, and just thanks to all the residents that came out to share their thoughts, opinions, and challenges and concerns about chambers, but also just overall speeding and the need for public safety. So thank you for taking the time to be a part of that discussion. I had a meeting, a great meeting with Adams 14 School Board President Renee Lovato, just to understand the current challenges, needs as they start thinking about the summer and kicking off work in the near future for the fall. How can we continue to support them? Set up a meeting in the near future. I think this Friday I'll have a meeting with some core representatives, very similar in the sense of like what's working and what's not working, and thinking through how do we continue to figure out the right balance and right partnership. I was able to attend the bingo night at G's Tacos to really, as a fundraiser for melanoma research. One of our residents helped throw that, or a couple of residents helped throw that fundraiser through bingo, and was able to raise a lot of money for melanoma research. It was great to support some of the community residents that are also dealing with some of the challenges with skin cancer. I also, just to echo Mayor Pro Tem Noble's comment about the Buffalo Run Drive, thank you to the city and the team to go out there, and also the resident that was able to make it. It is a complex issue. I learned a lot there, but it's also just a complex piece. I would encourage every resident to continue to be proactive. If you see a lot of folks speeding in your neighborhoods, please call the non-emergency number if you have the make, model, and if you have the license plates. What we found is a lot of the speeders through our neighborhoods are folks that live in a neighborhood, and so the best place is maybe try to talk to them first, but then if it continues, go ahead and report it. Reporting it is critical because it helps our police department create hot spots and use data to be able to follow up on some of the common challenges that ultimately leads to engineering and other things to help fix some of the issues. And the last but not least, just, I was attending the Memorial Day Parade, and I can't express just gratitude for the city, for the residents. I know Councilmember Teeter kind of mentioned that there was a gap because there was the step show, and there was a gap in the parade, but in some ways it made the parade longer and actually still as enjoyable. It just took longer. It made it last longer, which I thought was pretty neat in some ways, right? Because there was so many great people, floats, activities, and I'm always impressed about the number of people that come out. Every year is kind of, when you get there early, you're like, is everyone gonna show up? And this year it was raining, and you're like, are they show up? And then you look around and it's jam-packed with just smiles and joy. So those are things I wanna, and I hope we continue to highlight across the heart of our city, as the heart of our city across both parts and east and west. But there's so much joy and happening, and so that parade really captures it. If residents haven't come out before, I talked to a lot of residents in the north that didn't know about it, but also like they didn't realize they can just pull up a chair and be a part of it. I would encourage everyone to come next year if you haven't been a part of it. It's something to be proud about. With that, I rest.
Thank you. Councilmember Douglas.
Thank you. So I also attended the meeting on Chambers widening, and just want to really echo the fact that that it's so great to see the residents show up and to speak out and have their voices heard. And so I want to thank them. I want to thank the city for presenting it, and I hope that we'll continue this discussion so that when we do this, we get it right. And so that's very much appreciated. I had to miss the Memorial Day Parade this year, and I have not missed that parade. And I think we've been coming almost every year for the 20 years that we've lived here. And I really missed not being able to participate and enjoy it myself. Yes, it is a somber occasion, but at the same time, we celebrate each other in our unity of this community and recognize the sacrifices of those who gave the ultimate sacrifice of giving their lives for this country. One more thing, Adams 14 Band will not be there next year because they've been invited to participate in the Memorial Day Parade in DC. So congratulations to them.
Thank you. Well, I had a lengthy report, but my phone's dead. No, I just want to also note that myself and Councilmember Kim will be meeting with Suncor on June 20th. Correct? Okay. And then I want to give a shout out to all our employees who manage and maintain the safety for all our constituents along the route. The side streets that are blocked off. I've seen many in the news lately of people driving through and creating havoc. And I appreciate this year as another safe starting beginning of our parade. Shout out for the food trucks that participated, and Also the band, Those Crazy Nights performance. Very well attended. And there's people that come, people just not the people who live here in Commerce City, but people from all over come here to watch and participate, and also just to be close to other people on the Memorial Day, especially for those who have lost loved ones. This really brings, I'd say, a inclusionary area where people can feel safe and share their experiences. Also attended Thursday night Chambers Widening, and I appreciate all those community members who came out. And then tonight, the action that was taken by council and through the city manager's office, because, you know, when it comes to the expansion and development of Chambers, that might be a while now, maybe 5-6 years down the road. So that's, but in the meantime, if we can have some sort of safety measures put in, that's gonna help a lot of people out and take a lot of time out of their day of waiting, those near misses and all, because people are just focused on getting to and from work. And we do, every day I see a lot of young drivers that are very impatient. And so hopefully this will allow everyone the necessary time to start and complete their day. As Councilmember Kim indicated, the ICSC update, we'll do that the second study session this month. So I look forward to that. That is all I have for now. And the time is 9:10, and we are adjourned.